Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to the channel. This will be what you could call part 2 of my Linux journey through Slackware. I just looked at this. I was looking at Slackware on DistroWatch and I noticed it was ranked 13th. It's actually ahead of Arch, and apparently Slackware may be the new Arch. I'll be honest, I'm perfectly pleased in it. Everything I've wanted to install and use works just fine. We'll bring up my notes here, and this is going to be part 2. Again, this will be all your web pages, and we went through all of this during the install during part 1. And I want to emphasize again, uncommenting the kernel in your, or blacklisting the kernel in your Xfce Slack package blacklist directory. We've selected a single mirror. And one thing I didn't touch on, if you're installing Slackware on a laptop with just Wi-Fi, for me it was easier to add a user, create that account, and then from that account start X, and then use the network manager to select the uh, connection that I wanted to connect to. Once I did that, then I was able to go to update the GPG. I'd already done the mirrors during install, what have you. Again, this is some just simple commands. Upgrade package, install new, upgrade all, new config. It looks for new configuration files when it's searching. If there's any there, it'll give you the option to install them. Uninstall, Slack package remove. Configuring a graphical login in your Xfce init tab, changing the default run level from 3 to 4. I think I've touched on the time real briefly. The command to change the time, if your time ever gets off for some reason or other, this right here, and very much like the Arch Linux. One thing I didn't touch on, or I barely touched on before, or maybe not even touched on it, is this. This is a utility, INXI. I call it Xwm. I call it Xwm, but it comes by default. You don't have to install this, and this is one heck of a program for your system, telling you what all. If you just run it with no arguments there, no flags, you'll just get basic information. But if we go for the help folder, you'll get a ton of options and useful. For instance, I've used this myself. I'll just bring up another terminal. Hyphen A for audio. This tells you most anything you might want to know about any audio devices hooked up to your computer. This is an awesome tool, and you have all kind of options. If you just give it with the lowercase b, you get basic information, and just in the basic information, you get quite a bit. Now you can run this with sudo privileges and get even more information about your motherboard, the serial number, all kind of stuff. Graphics. I mean, I've used this tool. This is actually a useful tool. Close out of it. Get out of this terminal before I get sidetracked. Xwm, INXI, comes by default in Slackware. In Arch, I had to install it. All right, back to my notes here. We went over installing using the package or the utility called install package, and we installed sbopkg. And I don't think we installed a mugshot, but I'll show you how that was done. Now here, this is one of the most valuable parts of my notes, if you ask me. I give you a list here of every software that I've installed without problem, and everything works. Even got my Times New Roman fonts, got the Ubuntu font family, Handbrake, GUVC, View OBS, and it's running right now. OBS Studio. We'll get to this, but if you're thinking on installing a Virtualbox, then there's going to be some dependencies and prerequisites that you'll have to do first, and we'll cover that here in just a second. Again, I tried to be pretty granular here and accurate. I wrote, this is software that I installed or is installed, and all of the dependencies are listed here. And so Audacity, during the build scripts, if you want the manual, you can go into the build script and add, or actually manual equals, and then double quotes will be in there, and you just put in yes, save it, so when it builds Audacity, it'll include that. But for instance, ladspot underscore SDK, sound touch, too lame, etc., etc. There's a bunch. VLC took me about 4, maybe 5 hours to get the dependencies installed and then install VLC, but it works beautiful. Nomax, GUVC view, handbrake, cool retro term, which yeah, we did that in the video part 1. Asunder for ripping off ripping ripping audio CDs. It says right here, if you'll notice at the top, it said that it indicated that it wasn't found or not installed. What happened was when I looked for Fraunhofer by itself, it was not listed. However, I saw it come in during one of these other installations or what have you. I saw it, so I didn't worry about it, and it works just fine. Asunder. OBS Studio is running now. This is and this may not be a complete list, because if it was installed, for instance, already under VLC, I probably left it out here knowing that it was already done. So keep that in mind if you're going to install any of these, that some of those dependencies are probably here, like libdvd css. But you'll see when you use sbopkg manager, you'll get all the prerequisites, all the dependencies. It'll tell you everything you need to know. I got games, and a couple dependencies that I needed was SDL underscore Pango, SFML, BizFS file system, and the P library. Flowblade, I installed that yesterday just to kind of look at it and see if I wanted to figure out how to use it a little bit. Qubit torrent, mugshot. You'll want to install these dependencies right here first before you attempt to install it, and I'll show you. This note here is if you want to select the icon. This is where theirs are. Most of these were installed already. So installed the codecs. I was going to keep a list of all the codecs, period, but then I decided it was better to keep them in a category so you wouldn't have to guess which one was needed. All right, go to mugshot here. Let me go ahead and just open this up. Got a browser open. Let's look. We'll go to this one, that tab. Now this is for mugshot. If you want to get mugshot up and running so that you can change some of your details, and this actually shows up on the login screen as well, then you'll need to come to this website right here, highlight this binary package, or right click on it and say save link as, and you'll see I've already got it downloaded here, so it's actually installed, so cancel out of that. Then it gives you the instructions right here. As root, run this command right here. You can copy and paste it right over, and it'll install mugshot, and provided you have those other dependencies installed, it'll open up and work just fine. All right. Yep, that was a nice one. Okay, enabling multi-lib. Most important. Remember I said if you was considering installing Virtualbox, you will need the multi-lib library. And go back up here, over there. here's an instruction sheet from Slackware.com. Tells you how to do it. Slide this over a little bit. You can see first command here that you'll be running from the web page is right here. And you'll need to determine if you're running this newest version here, 15, and I am, so this command worked fine for me. Once you run that command, you cd into that directory, and then the next one is upgrade package reinstall, and you can see I've just basically copied and pasted the commands right here. Come right back to it. So once you do these, run these commands right here, you'll need to reboot because of the Xfce upgrade. All right. Now, to me, this was probably where this is where I went next. I also read here, go down, I should have highlighted this so it'd been easier to find. Right here. If you install this the way I did, the procedure that was off of this page indicated that I needed to blacklist my 32-bit library. And so you go into your blacklist directory. Thought I had a terminal open, sorry. The editor. All right. Now, I didn't do this as root, so I couldn't change anything in here and keep it if I wanted to. But right here, you see, I put a notation so I'd know what it was. And I put that command there, those lines right here in my blacklist. And that way, get out of here. That way, when you run your upgrade all, I learned this the hard way. If you do this and then you run upgrade all, it's going to upgrade all what it thinks are outdated Xfce packages and replace them with what you had to start with. And I learned that the hard way because I didn't read all the way down. I should have, but I didn't. My bad. Go back here to my notes. So once you got it blacklisted, then you can run upgrade all and won't have to worry about it. And to keep it updated, you just run these commands right here. I've already updated, so let's run this one here. I can't go be root. Now I can. And it should tell you this. And if I run this one, the install Multi-Lib, it'll say the same thing, no packages. All right. Now, at this time, if you was considering installing Virtualbox, you're ready. So you got your 32-bit Multi-Lib. There is dependencies here, ACPICA. You're going to want the Virtualbox kernel and the extension pack. And I'll show you. Let's go do that right now. Sign back in as root. Open up SBO tab complete package. Going to do a search. Okay. Search for Virtualbox, and right here they are. This one, add-ons, I'm sorry, that one's meant for if you're in a Virtualbox, not for the host machine. Let's go Virtualbox here. Click OK. View the README. And for Virtualbox, the README says Virtualbox and the kernel. So we saw the kernel right here. Right. So that's how I installed Virtualbox. Just close that out again. And I got the extension packs. Let me open that up. Not setting. Sorry. Preferences. You'll see the extension packs here. I hadn't figured out a whole lot of why I recognize this one, but the trace extension pack I don't recognize. I'll find out what it is, and if it's interesting, I'll let you know. But Virtualbox works just fine. Let's open up Arch because that'll be the fastest. open up. There is no GUI here. This is just the command line, the base. Log in, press the password, and I haven't messed with the bash RC and included neofetch. So I think I can just go power off, but it might ask me for a password. Nope. So you can see VirtualBox works just fine. And got, it's like both of these are installed and they're both in UEFI mode. What else could you want? Now here's like to me, one of the greatest features of Slackware. I said one of the greatest features, and I'll show you. You are so boring that when I see you, my feet go to sleep. That's like the guy I knew one time. He was so short he had to tiptoe to put his hat on. I'm sorry. So Slackware comes with an amazing, some built-in tools. Amazing built-in tools. This one here is called Package Tool. Now, in the beginning, when you're making your installation and you got to the point where you was selecting the sets that you wanted, Xfce or KDE or any of those other Joes, whatever, and you decided that you should have installed everything. Well, you can come right here under Package Tools, highlight Current, and click OK, and it'll go. And if you didn't, it'll reinstall or install anything you deselected. Install packages from some other directory. For instance, we downloaded a mugshot. I could have used Package Tool, and I did basically, but I just run the install package command, which is still part of this setup. We can remove packages. We can view all the files contained in a particular package. Let's look at that. Pick one that I recognize. There's one handbrake. All right, so this would be basically your README and all the files that it needs. Entire package list, which is awesome. That could come in really handy. And it has view a list of files. We can run the setup tool again. You'll recognize some of these scripts from your install. You need to run any one of them. For instance, the update fonts right there, font config. Run Xfce -cache. You could select and do that one right now. I just did it a little while ago, as a matter of fact. But you can create a boot disk. A lot of these you see during the install. Your mouse, configure the GPM support, copy and paste. We already did that during the install. And this is a great utility right here. The Xwm Config. If you run this, a screen will come up and you'll remember what your selection was. What did you want to start? If you typed in start X, did you want Xfce to start, the X window manager, or whatever? You'll have those options there. I'm going to cancel out of that, and we'll exit the package tool. This is a marvelous tool. If you decide you want to run a Slackware, you need to familiarize yourself with the Slackware package tool. All right. I think I need that again. Yep, I'm fixing to, but not as root. So here's all the stuff that's included. These tools are included already in Slackware. I highly recommend, and I put this here kind of out of place, because I highly recommend you go here, How to Slackware Basics PDF, and download you a copy of this. There is some great reading in here. Most every question I've had for Google, I eventually found it in here. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now you know me. I'm the kind of guy that I want to know, what packages did I install? Give me a count of them. How many? Whatever. So if I wanted to list system boot, we don't need sudo privileges. This is in var packages, March the 30th. All right. Here's all the packages that you'll see if you install using sbopkg. And run this command and it'll show you everything. And right here you can see Virtualbox, the extension, and the kernels. VLC, Voco screen, web core fonts. I mean, the whole list. Nice. But let's just say, go make sure here's my home directory, and there's no loose files in here. But let's just say you wanted to, I wanted a backup list of all the programs that I've installed. I always want a list, and here's the command to do it. Now you can name this anything you wanted to. I just named it Slackware or Slack15 PKG list. You can give it a date, name, whatever you want to, but as long as it ends in .txt, press enter, go back to my home folder. There it is. If I open it up, there's everything that's installed on this system. It does have the version numbers, which, you know, you may not want all that. I hadn't found the other command to not list version numbers, but you can bet your sweet bippy I will. All right, well, that's going to do it for part 2 here. Those are some interesting things that, well, I didn't want to close that out. What I want to do is go back up here to dependencies, my dependency list. I think you can see it all right here. Of course, now, these are the programs. Everything that you see here, I've got installed, and I've actually missed a couple, I think. All right, there we go. This is the most valuable part in my mind for a guy wanting to do a Slackware. Right here's all the install SBO package. By package, download it, and then run the PKG or package install tool, install PKG tool, run open SBO, look for all of these dependencies or any other dependencies from programs or software that you like best. So, close out of that. In fact, let me delete that. I've already got it. All right. So thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you on another video. If I run across something really interesting in Slackware, I'll share it with you. In my humble opinion, I think everybody should at least install at least install Slackware in a Virtualbox and just look at it. This is where the operating system you're using right now probably came from. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Bye.